You don't feel it happening. That's the cruelest part. There's no explosion, no single morning you wake up and something is wrong. Your spine doesn't send a warning. It doesn't ask for help. It just quietly begins to collapse, 1 millimeter at a time, while you sit at a desk, while you drive, while you sleep, twisted into positions your body was never designed to hold. By the time you feel it, 10 years have already passed. You're 22, university, you spend roughly 9 hours a day hunched over a laptop, shoulders rolled forward, chin jutted toward the screen like you're trying to read something written too small. Your lower back occasionally stiffens after long sessions. You stand up, stretch for 4 seconds, and call it fine. You are not fine, but your body is young enough to absorb the damage quietly, and silence feels exactly like health. You graduate, you get the job. The job has a desk. The desk has a chair that costs $180 and was chosen by someone who has never sat in it for longer than 20 minutes. You sit in it for 8 hours. Then you go home and sit on a couch that puts your hips 3 inches below your knees and rounds your lower spine into a soft, slow C-curve. Then you sleep on a mattress that sags in the middle because replacing it costs money you're saving for other things. Every single day, your spine is being loaded in the same wrong direction. Not painfully, just consistently. You're 25, the stiffness is no longer occasional. It's there most mornings now. That first 10 minutes out of bed, where your lower back moves like something that needs warming up. You mention it to a friend. He says his back does the same thing. You both agree it's just part of getting older. You are 25 years old. You accept this. You download a fitness app. You do a 2-week program that involves crunches, which compress your lumbar discs from the front, and leg raises that yank on your hip flexors, which are already shortened from sitting and now pulling your pelvis into anterior tilt, which increases the arch in your lower back, which increases the load on every disc below L3. You don't know any of this. The app has good music and a progress bar. You complete the program. Your back hurts slightly more. You assume you push too hard. You rest for a week. The rest feels like recovery. It isn't. You're 27. You start feeling something new, a tightness in your right hip that radiates faintly down the back of your thigh when you sit too long. Not pain exactly, a presence, like a voice just below speaking volume. You Google the symptom. The internet suggests sciatica, a herniated disc, piriformis syndrome, and cancer in roughly that order. You close the browser. You buy a lumbar pillow for your desk chair. The lumbar pillow moves the stiffness from your lower back to your mid-back. You take this as progress. Your posture, if photographed from the side, now looks like a question mark. Head forward 4 centimeters past your shoulders, and for every centimeter your head travels forward, your cervical spine bears an additional 4.5 kilograms of load. Your neck is now managing the equivalent weight of carrying a bowling ball attached to a second bowling ball, all day, every day. You have no idea. You think your neck is just tense from stress. You're 29. The presence becomes a voice. The voice becomes a language. You wake up one Tuesday and something in your lower left back isn't right. Not a twinge, a locked, deep ache that changes how you walk. You cancel your gym session. It eases in 3 days. 2 weeks later, it returns after a long flight. Then it returns after a weekend of sitting at a wedding. You begin to understand that your back has opinions now, that certain things trigger it, that you've started to organize your life quietly around it, choosing the aisle seat, avoiding long car rides, sleeping with a pillow between your knees without ever being told to. Your body has been teaching you its new grammar, and you have been learning it without realizing you enrolled. You're 31. The MRI takes 45 minutes. You lie completely still while a machine reads your spine like a document you've been writing for a decade without knowing. The radiologist's report is 2 pages. You read the parts your doctor circled. L4 to L5 disc, reduced disc height with posterior annular bulge. L5 to S1, early degenerative changes. Cervical spine, mild straightening of the natural lordotic curve. Your doctor explains it calmly. The discs are the shock absorbers between your vertebrae. They're filled with a gel-like nucleus. Sustained poor posture and compressive loading over years pushes that nucleus backward. Backward is where your spinal nerves live. The disc isn't herniated yet, but it's been heading there for a long time. You ask when this started. He pauses, then says something that stays with you. Probably around your early 20s. These things don't happen at once. They happen daily. A colleague mentions yoga. You resist. Yoga is for people who burn incense and own multiple types of the same plant. You are not that person. You go because you've tried everything else. The first class nearly breaks you. Not dramatically, but honestly. The instructor asks you to lie flat on the floor and press your lower back down. You cannot. There is a visible gap between your lumbar spine and the mat. She doesn't comment, but you both see it. A decade of anterior pelvic tilt has locked your lower back into a permanent extension pattern. Your hip flexors, the psoas specifically, have been chronically shortened for so long they've forgotten how to fully release. Then she asks you to sit cross-legged and reach your arms forward. Your thoracic spine, the mid-back, the part designed for rotation and flexion, barely moves. It has been stiffened by years of sitting in flexion without ever moving through extension. It is, essentially, fused by habit. This is the moment you understand that yoga isn't exercise. It's a diagnostic. Your body takes every pose and shows you, precisely and without judgment, exactly where 10 years of unconscious damage has landed. You think it's going to get better quickly. That's the false floor. 3 months in, you feel genuinely good. The morning stiffness is lighter. The sciatic murmur has quieted. You skip 2 weeks for a work project. The stiffness returns in 4 days. Harder than before. You go back. It eases. You realize slowly that this is not a course you complete. It's a practice you maintain because you live in a body that was built for movement and you have spent a decade overriding that fact. 6 months in, something shifts that you weren't expecting. You begin to feel where you are in space. Proprioception, your body's GPS system, was so dulled by sedentary patterning that you couldn't accurately sense when you were slouching. Now you feel the moment your pelvis tilts forward. You catch it. You correct it. Not perfectly, not always, but you catch it. The yoga teacher says something in class one evening. Your nervous system learned these patterns over years. It will unlearn them over months. The body is patient if you are. You write it in your phone. You read it on bad days. You're 33 now. The damage is structural and some of it is permanent. The disc at L4 to L5 will not fully regenerate. Adult discs have minimal blood supply and do not heal the way muscle does. The degenerative changes at L5 to S1 are documented and real. These are facts. But here is another fact. The pain that was a daily presence is now occasional. The sciatic radiation that made long flights a dread is manageable. You sleep through the night. You stand differently. You sit differently. You built a body that compensates and adapts, and it took you a decade to realize you'd been teaching it to compensate for the wrong things. You think about everyone still sitting in their $180 chair, still Googling their symptoms at midnight and closing the browser, still calling the morning stiffness just part of getting older at 25. You think about how long damage can happen in total silence. The spine has 33 vertebrae, 23 discs. It was designed to carry you upright through movement, not to hold one fixed position for 60,000 hours across a decade. Everything it does to survive that, every compensation, every tightening, every slow rearrangement of your natural curves, it does quietly, without complaint, until the day it can't. You didn't destroy your spine dramatically. You destroyed it the same way everything important gets destroyed, gradually then all at once, in the small, ordinary moments nobody thinks to count.